A home invasion is reported in the United States every 26 seconds. Not someday, not in some distant city. Right now, somewhere in America, someone is forcing their way into a home. The uncomfortable reality is that most people don't have anything within arm's reach that's actually effective when seconds matter. For this video, I looked at 10 self-defense products that can still be purchased online without going through the traditional firearm buying process. Some deliver far more impact than most people would ever expect. One turned out to be almost completely overhyped. And the fourth item on this list is one of the best-selling options out there, even though relying on it could be a very dangerous mistake. At number 10 is the Bintac T9. This is where the line between less lethal and genuinely dangerous starts to get very blurry. The Bintac T9 is a compact air-powered carbine chambered for 357 caliber slugs, roughly the same diameter as a common 9mm handgun bullet. Charged with compressed air at 4,500 psi, it can launch those slugs at speeds approaching 740 feet per second, producing well over 100 foot-pounds of energy. That's enough performance to put it squarely into the territory normally associated with small game hunting. It feeds from an 8-round magazine, operates semi-automatically, and its front-mounted air cylinder can be swapped out in just a few seconds, allowing you to reload the air supply without a long delay. This is not a backyard toy or a casual plinker. It's a serious piece of equipment, and there are a few downsides you should know before spending your money. Owners frequently report feeding issues with the inexpensive polymer magazines, and many say the rifle can be picky about which slugs cycle reliably. It's also extremely loud, around 125 decibels, so don't expect to use it quietly around the neighborhood. Unlike many of the products in this video, you won't find the Bintac T9 on Amazon. It's typically purchased directly from the manufacturer. Its performance is impressive, but it demands attention and maintenance. If you're looking for something simple and forgiving, this probably isn't it. The next product takes the exact opposite approach. It looks dramatically more capable than it actually is. At number 9 is the T4E TR50 Carbine Conversion Kit. This accessory completely changes the appearance of the popular T4E TR50 pepperball and rubberball revolver. Once installed, the compact revolver transforms into something that resembles a modern tactical carbine. You get a folding shoulder stock, a full-length Picatinny rail for mounting optics, M-Lock-E attachment slots for accessories like lights or lasers, and sling attachment points that make the entire package much easier to handle. Visually, it's a dramatic upgrade. But here's the part many product listings conveniently leave out. The extended barrel inside the conversion kit doesn't actually line up directly with the revolver's original barrel. There's a gap between them, meaning you don't gain any meaningful increase in velocity or power. It also doesn't significantly improve accuracy, and some owners have actually reported slightly larger shot groups after installing it. If you buy this kit, buy it because you want better ergonomics, a more stable shooting platform, additional accessory mounting options, and a more substantial feel in your hands. Just don't expect it to magically transform the revolver into a precision rifle, because it doesn't. The next product was originally designed with professional users in mind. At number 8 is the Paradigm PTX. Among less lethal launchers, this is one of the most precision-focused systems available. Built by hand in the United States, the Paradigm PTX is a bullpup launcher that fires 68 caliber projectiles at approximately 350 feet per second. Its accuracy is remarkable, capable of keeping shots inside roughly an 8-inch group at 100 yards. Performance that's exceptionally rare for this category. Out of the box, it's configured to produce around 20 joules of muzzle energy. Install the optional upgrade valve, known as the volumizer, and output can exceed 60 joules, representing a substantial increase in power. But there's something important you shouldn't ignore. The manufacturer itself warns that when configured in the 60 or 80 joule range, the launcher may be capable of causing fatal injuries depending on the type of projectile being used. At those settings, calling it less lethal becomes questionable. It's simply a quieter platform with significantly more energy. Every PTX is assembled by hand after an order is placed, so it's far from an impulse purchase. Prices can exceed $2,000, and delivery often takes between 4 and 8 weeks. This is a purpose-built precision tool aimed at experienced buyers who know exactly what they're looking for. The next item couldn't be more different. At number 7 is the Cold Steel Brooklyn Smasher. Unlike anything powered by air or CO2, this one never needs batteries, cartridges, compressed gas, or magazines. It can't jam, and it can't run out of ammunition. It may resemble a baseball bat, but it's neither wood nor aluminum. Instead, it's molded from extremely durable polypropylene, creating a single solid piece that's designed to resist cracking, splintering, or rotting. At 34 inches long, it's built for maximum durability rather than sporting performance. There's an interesting reason this design exists. Professional baseball players routinely broke wooden bats during games, and products like this were created specifically to eliminate that problem. For home defense, that translates into something with no mechanical failure points, nothing to reload, nothing to charge, and virtually no maintenance requirements. It's one of the simplest tools on this list, but also one of the most dependable. Its biggest limitation is obvious: reach. A bat only works as far as your arms can extend, while the remaining products on this list can engage threats from considerably greater distances. At number 6 is the JPX Pepper Gun. At first glance, it looks remarkably similar to a handgun, but it doesn't fire bullets. Instead, the Pyxon JPX launches a concentrated stream of liquid pepper solution at speeds approaching 400 miles per hour, reaching targets as far as 23 feet away. Unlike traditional pepper spray, the JPX doesn't create a drifting cloud that can blow back into your face. Instead, it fires a concentrated, high-speed stream, making it far more practical for use inside your home without exposing yourself to the same irritating chemicals. One of the reasons it's so unique comes down to how it's designed. Rather than using a conventional barrel and cartridge, it relies on a small pyrotechnic charge to propel the liquid. Because of that design, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives does not classify it as a firearm, allowing it to be sold in situations where a traditional handgun may not be. It's waterproof, can sit in a drawer for years without losing pressure, and a direct hit can incapacitate an attacker for up to about 45 minutes. The trade-off is simple. You only get 2 shots before reloading. The trigger pull is intentionally heavy to help prevent accidental discharge, and certain states, including New York, have additional restrictions, so always verify your local laws before ordering. For most real-world encounters, 2 shots may be enough. The next option doesn't require you to think about shot count nearly as much. At number 5 is the Pepperball PPC. Now we're moving into equipment that's closely related to what many law enforcement agencies use. The Pepperball PPC is a semi-automatic launcher that fires .68 caliber pepper projectiles. They work similarly to paintballs, except instead of paint, they burst on impact and release a powerful cloud of pepper irritant. Depending on the setup, it delivers roughly 12 to 28 joules of energy, has an effective range of up to 150 feet, and its controls feel familiar to anyone who's handled an AR-style platform. It can even fire specialized glass-breaking rounds capable of shattering a window before deploying additional projectiles. There is one important catch. The PPC is primarily marketed to law enforcement agencies and professional users. For most civilians, the easier option is its consumer counterpart, the Pepperball VKS, which can typically be purchased online without going through the standard firearm purchasing process. You get the same basic Pepperball concept, packaged specifically for civilian ownership. It really helps support the channel and lets us keep making videos like this. At number 4 is the Vipertech VTS 989. This is one of the best-selling self-defense products you'll find on Amazon. It costs about as much as a large pizza, but there's something on the packaging that deserves a closer look. One listing claims 53 million volts. Another advertises 230 million. Others claim 990 million or even a full billion volts. Same stun gun, completely different numbers. Obviously, they can't all be accurate. And that's the problem. Those voltage claims are largely marketing, not independently verified performance data. What actually matters is the hardware. The unit measures about 6.5 inches long, weighs roughly half a pound, recharges directly from a standard wall outlet, includes a built-in LED flashlight, and features pointed electrodes designed to make solid contact even through heavier clothing. It also includes anti-grab protection, meaning metal strips along the sides deliver a shock if someone tries to wrestle it out of your hand. The controls are simple, with the safety switch separated from the trigger so it can be activated quickly under stress. And that loud electrical crackle? In many situations, the sound alone is enough to convince someone to back away before any contact is made. But don't overlook its biggest weakness. Like every contact stun device, it only works when it's pressed directly against the attacker. By the time that's possible, the threat is already within arm's reach. Some owners have also reported the flashlight failing after only a short period of use, and depending on where you live, it may not even be legal to own. Several jurisdictions, including Hawaii, Massachusetts, Michigan, Rhode Island, Wisconsin, and Washington, D.C., have restrictions or outright bans on stun guns. Think of it as a backup tool, not your primary defensive plan. The next product leans even harder into intimidation. At number 3 is the spiked stun device. This thing looks like something straight out of a post-apocalyptic survival movie. It has a heavy metal body, an aggressive tactical grip, and blunt metal spikes surrounding the contact end. Before it's ever used, its appearance alone is designed to send a message. Press the activation button, and a bright blue electrical arc jumps between the contacts, producing a sharp, aggressive crack that instantly grabs attention. That sound can be intimidating enough to make someone think twice. But it's important to stay realistic about what these devices can actually do. Like every contact stun weapon, it has to be pressed directly against the person you're trying to stop. That means the threat has already closed the distance, and that's exactly where most people don't want to be. Legal restrictions are also much more common in this category than almost anything else on this list. States including Hawaii, Illinois, Massachusetts, Michigan, New York, Rhode Island, Wisconsin, and Washington, D.C. either restrict or prohibit certain stun devices, and many online retailers simply won't ship them to those locations. The intimidating design certainly gets attention. Just make sure it's legal where you live before spending your money. The next product takes the opposite approach. Instead of relying on intimidation, it's all about speed and precision. At number 2 is the Lancer Air Hydra M4 PDW. This is another option that can typically be ordered online. The Air Hydra is a compact M4-style BB rifle capable of fully automatic fire. Powered by 2 CO2 cartridges, it launches 177 caliber steel BBs at speeds up to 430 feet per second, while firing at an astonishing cyclic rate approaching 700 rounds per minute. It features realistic blowback action, so every shot cycles with noticeable recoil, giving it a feel that's much closer to a real rifle than most BB guns. It also comes with an adjustable stock, iron sights, and can typically be purchased online without going through the standard firearm purchasing process. But let's keep expectations realistic. This is still a BB gun. At typical room-length distances, steel BBs can certainly hurt, leave welts, and create enough noise to make an intruder think twice, especially when firing in full auto. But it's best viewed as a deterrent, not a tool that's guaranteed to immediately stop a determined attacker. Independent testing has also shown that with standard steel BBs, actual muzzle velocity often falls closer to 380 to 400 feet per second, rather than the advertised maximum. If you buy it because it's fun to shoot, incredibly fast, and surprisingly loud. Just don't make it the foundation of your entire home defense strategy. That brings us to the most unusual product on today's list. At number 1 is the Zeus by Oberon Alpha. This feels less like today's technology and more like something pulled from a science fiction movie. The Zeus is a modular electronic defense system that operates at approximately 130 kilovolts, and its most interesting feature is its interchangeable front-end cartridge system. One module functions as a flashbang device, producing an intense burst of light and sound designed to disorient and temporarily overwhelm an attacker before any physical contact occurs. Another cartridge launches tethered electrical probes capable of reaching targets roughly 10 meters away, allowing the system to deliver an electrical charge from a distance. The platform also includes a Picatinny rail for mounting accessories like lights or cameras, along with an electronic identity lock feature that prevents unauthorized use if someone manages to take it away from you. As impressive as it sounds, there's one major reality check. The Zeus is produced by Oberon Alpha, a company based in Russia. Because of current export restrictions, sanctions, and import regulations, obtaining one legally in the United States is, in most cases, not a realistic option. You also won't find it listed on Amazon or other mainstream online retailers. In other words, this is more of a fascinating example of what's being developed around the world than a product most American buyers can realistically order. And that's probably the biggest takeaway from this entire list. The most futuristic-looking option isn't always the most practical one. Sometimes the simplest tools, the ones that aren't flashy at all, end up being the most dependable when everything goes wrong. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to Guns You Can't Live Without. And before purchasing any self-defense product, make sure you understand the laws that apply where you live. The next product relies more on intimidation than actual capability. If you're enjoying this countdown, take a second to subscribe to the Weapon Lab channel.